Is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown at all worth getting now that we're into 2025? We're in the second season of the game. It's a good time to look back, reflect on this, and I'll let you know once I come to my verdict at the end. So with Season 2, the island of Ibiza was added to the game. This is a big addition, and it's a good addition, but that's all it is an addition to the game. It doesn't fix a lot of the base problems. Frame rate is still an issue. I've had connectivity issues still. And for as much as you pay for this game, you would think that stuff would have been addressed by now. It's been months since the game's release, and it's still a problem. And yet with that, it is also a good time to look at it as the fact that these issues happen a lot less frequently. At the start of Season 2, there was a lot of lag on the main island, especially when you're in the jungle areas. I don't know what brought that about, as that area was always the safe spot during the Season 0 and Season 1 of this game. So it's very confusing on how that happened, because it runs better now than it did before in the cities, but worse in the jungle. So it's very confusing over what is happening to cause a lot of the lag that you're getting in this game. And then you have everyone was saying there's not enough cars in the game yet. And I'm not saying they're wrong. It's only around 100 cars. There's a relatively small list of cars in this game compared to many other games that come out now. And Season 1 again falls short on helping that. Yeah, there's 9 new cars. But of those 9, 7 of them are just special editions of cars already in the game. One new one with the Ferrari that's available to everyone. And then you have the Lamborghini Diablo out of the past, where if you don't get it, are you just screwed? Because I get it, with the Ferrari California, anybody can get it. It's going to take a lot of time playing the game to get it, but it's possible. Yet with the Lamborghini you see me driving in the beginning of this, that's the Diablo out of the past. Are the passes going to be cars that will come back in later? Or if you don't get it, do you just never get that chance again? I guess the same can be said for the Season 1 the Audi eSport Quattro. Like, if you didn't get it, do you just never get the chance to get that car again? And I feel like that's a very bad way to go about it. The fear of missing out on a car is never a good way to go about it in a racing game. It should always be brought back later, even if it's going to be, 2-3 seasons later, such as how Motorfest is doing it now. If you miss out on a special edition car, 2 months, well, not 2 months, or maybe it is 2 months, but 2 months later, you can get that car again. It's going to take a lot of work, and you have to play the game a lot, but you can at least get it. And then you have the economy of this game. And oh boy, is that a fun one to get into, because there is one race that pays out well. It's the one you'll see me repeatedly doing in this video. That is it. It's the only race that actually pays out well enough to continue to do it. And it's one on the new Ibiza map. So there's nothing on the mainland that pays out worth its while. And with the insanely high cost of cars in this game, I mean multiple millions of dollars in game to get them, and you get 55,000 in the best race. Like, that doesn't seem worth it. I know it's not the highest paying out race in the game, but per the time it takes, it is the best race to do. And now we come to my gripes with the Season Pass. I don't mind that the game has it. I think that the cosmetics and the cars available in the Season Passes should be available later also. But that's not where the problem lies. My problem lies in the fact that Season 1, it was 12,000 XP to level up in the Season Pass. It's an okay amount. It's not impossible to get, and it makes sense to get that much. So that way you don't have to spend every day grinding out the game. I know it's not actually like that, as I've completed the pass already. There's still plenty of the time, but you get what I mean. Season 2, it is 36,000 XP to get a level. They have tripled the required amount of XP to complete the pass for no reason. It's the same length of pass as Season 1, but now it is 3 times the length of time to complete it. I don't think that's a good way to go about it. I feel like the best thing they could do is either revert back to the 12,000 it was in Season 1, or keep the time to complete it as it is now and lengthen how much content you get in the pass. Having this weird in between of an extremely long pass for the amount of XP you need, while having a very minimal amount of rewards, just is not a good system to go by, and it needs to be revised. And then you have the whole forced online aspect, which I don't like, but it's okay if they want to go with that, sure. But don't force us to race with random people if we don't choose to. Like the Crew 2 Motorfest, the way they do it, you have to have this online connection, but you have to choose to have somebody else in the race with you. In Test Drive, you don't get that choice at all. Like, if they just throw people in the race with you. And I don't think that's a good way to go about it. Just because you queue up for the race at the same time as somebody else doesn't mean you want to race with them. 9 times out of 10, in fact, I'd say 99 out of 100, you don't even see that other person on the map that it's going to just throw in the race with you. It just happens to be somebody out there queued for the race at the same time, and now you're stuck racing with them. Like, that doesn't make sense to me why you would force that upon players. It should be an option that you get and not a forced thing that you just have to accept. But the good is that the devs have said they are listening. Now we'll see whether or not that is true next season, as they've postponed the planned content for Season 3 to make it so that they're just going to focus on getting the game to a point where the player base wants it. And if that is true, it could be a worthwhile game. Which means that even right now, even though I still say I enjoy the game, I wouldn't say it's worth getting it at this point. Unless you find like a significant deal on the game to get it at a very low price, it still isn't worth getting. That's a game that I've poured a lot of time into, and I'm max level on the base game and nearly finished with everything for leveling up in the expansion. So I've put a good amount of time in this. And yet, even I would say, as the game is right now, it is not worth buying it. I would say the best way to know whether this game is actually going to be worth it is 3 months from now, after we're a bit into Season 3, look at the state of the game then. Because as it is now, the game isn't worth it. Season 3, they're supposed to listen, change the game the way the players want. And that will be the true tell of whether or not this game is worth it. And if it isn't at that point, I would say the game could basically be written off. Because the content isn't there. The love for the game isn't there. It just feels like this generic open world racing game. There's no feel to the game that makes it feel enjoyable. So unless you just want a game to hop onto and drive, and not even a great game for that, but just to do it, that's about the only reason I would say the game is even worth getting in its current state. So take all of this however you want, whether you choose to listen or not. I mean, obviously, your choice at the end of the day. But this game has potential. But potential doesn't mean it's good right now. And potential doesn't mean it ever will be. It means that it has a chance to be good if the love that the game deserves is ever put into it. And for that, we just have to wait and see if that will ever happen.